Well, good evening and thank you. Welcome to UFCU's 82nd annual meeting. I'm John Martin, Vice President of Austin Commercial and Chair of the Board of Directors of UFCU. I'll call this meeting to order. The UFCU bylaws specify that 15 members constitute a quorum, therefore I declare a quorum. The meeting of last year's annual meeting were approved by the Board of Directors at its May 22nd, 2017 meeting and have been distributed. I want to begin by introducing our volunteer leaders. I ask that each person stand as his or her name is called and remain standing until all have been introduced. Please hold your applause until all have been introduced. For the Board of Directors, I'm the Chair, John Martin, Vice President of Austin Commercial in Houston. Our Vice Chair is Mike Harris, PhD, CPA, CITP, Managing Member of Harris, Queza and Company here in Austin. Treasurer is Kel McDowell, JD, is a partner at Jackson Walker LLP here in Austin. Our Secretary, Laura Kilcrease, CEO, Alberta Innovates Corporation, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Linus N. Akino, Jr., CIA, CISA, CRMA, CGMS. Senior Manager, Strategic and Reputational Risk, Deloitte Risk and Financial Advisor here in Austin. Tom Artis, MBA, President, SumoWeb, an Internet Domain Name Registrar here in Austin. Leslie Blank, PhD, Adjunct Professor of Economics, Concordia University here in Austin. Adriana Cruz, President, Greater San Marcos Partnership, San Marcos, Texas. Minnie Kalan, Vice Dean for Strategy and Partnerships, Dell Medical School, University of Texas at Austin. Molly Beth Malcolm, Executive Vice President, Campus Operations and Public Affairs, Austin Community College, Austin, Texas. David W. Niesel, PhD, Lawrence E. Etheridge Jr. Professor, Vice President and Dean, Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences, Chief Research Officer, University of Texas Medical Branch, Galveston, Texas. Director Emeritus, Carl E. Hansen, PhD, Owner, Vocational Appraisal and Planning here in Austin. Director Emeritus Cynthia A. Leach, Texas Workforce Commission, retired, Austin, Texas. Director Emeritus Mary A. Singh, Assistant Director, Facilities and Support Services, retired. The General Libraries, which is now the University of Texas Libraries, UT Austin. Director Emeritus Frank J. Peters, Vice President, Human Resources, retired. Microelectronics and Computer Technology Corp. here in Austin. Our Supervisory Committee is chaired by Brady M. Cole, Rear Admiral, United States Navy, SC, retired. Senior Executive Vice President, Navy Federal Credit Union, retired, now living in Austin. Secretary, Christine A. Plonsky, Women's Athletics Director, and Senior Associate Athletics Director, External Services, Intercollegiate Athletics for Men and Women here at UT Austin. Calixto Balderas, CPA, Tax Senior Associate, PwC, here in Austin, Texas. Faraz Khan, Chief Accounting Officer, UCSF Health, University of California at San Francisco, California. And Ellen E. Wood, President, CEO, VCFO here in Austin. And as guest of the Board of Directors is Kirk Overby, Professional Registered Parliamentarian. Thank you. Our official reports are printed in the document that you received when you walked in, but we'll call people up to read their report. So the report of the Board of Directors. As we reflect on the past year, we are inspired by the level of service and generosity demonstrated by members and employees alike, who exhibited great strength and resolve to uplift our communities in a time of crisis. Hurricane Harvey was particularly difficult for many in our communities who, even many months later, continue in need. We are proud of and grateful for your kindness, determination, and generosity. Your resolve to come together in a time of great need is inspirational. While some focused their 2017 efforts on rebuilding, others set out to realize their dreams to begin their lives. For the second consecutive year, the Austin Business Journal named UFCU the largest mortgage lender in Central Texas. Let that sink in just a little bit. We're proud to have helped make the dream of homeownership a reality for over 3,200 members and counting. We also continued making banking as convenient as possible so our members can get things done quickly and get back to the business of life. We upgraded online banking, created a new mortgage services app to simplify home buying, transformed our downtown location to include ATM kiosks for those who value banking on the go, and expanded services to include small business administration loans. UFCU continues to serve as one piece of a larger puzzle. When our community is strong, we are strong. And that was truly evident in 2017. Our assets under management grew 8.5% this year to $2.7 billion at year end. More importantly, 33,700 new members joined the cooperative, a net growth rate of 8%, which is multiple times the growth rate of other organizations. This growth boosts our membership to more than 234,000 people. We're grateful for so many who have partnered with us for critical services, for financial help, and to benefit our broader communities. Thank you to our membership and business. Together, we're making a difference. Now I'll ask Cale to come up and give the report of the treasurer.
Thank you, John. First, let me say it's an honor to serve as your treasurer, and it's a privilege to work with the other board members and the management team. We really are fortunate to have this group of leaders at UFCU. Last year, Austin's business environment, housing market, and job growth combined to generate high demand for our services. We met that demand thanks to member support, prudent lending practices, and our commitment to high quality service delivery. In 2017, loan disbursements totaled $1.6 billion, boosting total loans outstanding to $1.93 billion, which was an increase of $180 million or 10% from year-end 2016. Member deposits recorded growth of $99 million or 5%, bringing the year-end total to $1.98 billion. Total assets ended the year at $2.24 billion, representing annual growth of 6%. Together with member wealth management deposits of over $400 million, assets under management totaled $2.7 billion. Our total revenue of $151 million, on total revenue of $151 million, UFCU generated net income of $14 million, representing an average return on assets of 64 basis points, elevating member equity by 8% to $190 million. Volunteers lead our financial performance through actions of the Asset Liability Management and Budget Committee, which reviews financial performance, establishes and monitors financial policies, and determines financial objectives. I'm proud to report that UFCU remains financially strong and is committed to enhancing our products and services to meet the evolving needs of our more than 234,000 members. With that, I'll turn over the dais, but please don't hesitate to grab me at the end if you have any questions. Thank you.
And now the report of the Supervisory Committee by Brady Cole.
Thank you, John. It's my first report as the Supervisory Committee Chairman, so I'm going to paraphrase what's in the annual report, which I'm sure a lot of you are avidly reading right now. Our responsibilities involve oversight, so we're responsible for ensuring the Board of Directors and management of UFCU do two primary things. One, meet the required financial reporting objectives, and two, establish practices and procedures sufficient to safeguard the members' assets. To do this, we rely heavily on four groups: Assurance Services, which is the internal auditor; Moss Adams, which acts as the external auditor; National Credit Union Association, which do their own auditing; and management briefings on topics that we select. An example would be UFCU's response to the cyber attack. So our conclusion after a year is that based on input from these foregoing groups, we're comfortable with the credit union is currently safe and sound, and it is a credit union that actively supports its members. And I want to thank the folks that we deal with, which include the Board of Directors and management, for their cooperation in helping the committee carry out its responsibilities. And if you have any questions, ask Kayla.
Thank you, Brady. And now the report of the President and CEO, Tony Goudet.
Thank you, John. It's somewhat intimidating to follow an admiral up here. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for the service that you provide this cooperative. We appreciate you very, very much. And for those of you who are members joining us here for the first time, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here. Many employees are present, longtime members. I'm always delighted to reconnect with you at these events on an annual basis. The chair's and president's report there is in front of you. I won't repeat it, but I think it is worth pointing out some of the achievements of the organization. Many things done by leaders in this room that are certainly noteworthy. John mentioned the response to Hurricane Harvey, and as he said, we still have a lot of members dealing with the aftermath of that. It is not over. And so I'm just proud of the way that our employees here have responded to that and helped members in a variety of meaningful ways. Also, a lot of upgrades to digital services underway. That's one of the areas of our operation that never gets done. That's not something you check off a list, and so a lot of work continues there. Addition to small business administration lending is a meaningful service to a lot of members focused on growing businesses. Relocation and upgrade to our downtown interactive financial center, which moved from the UT System building that was raised this past weekend across the street to 7th Street in Lavaca, and that facility is now open and ready to serve you any way that we possibly can there. John mentioned the mortgage loans to over 3,200 members. In fact, in the month of June alone, Lori Roberts, who's sitting back here, she and her team, in just June alone, booked 359 loans, I think, in that 1 month. And so just extraordinary service offered members in that area. John mentioned the 34,000 new members, almost 250,000 total members in the cooperative now. And to ensure that we remain convenient, we have plans to continue to open facilities in the near future in places like East Austin, far South Austin, Kyle Buda, and perhaps other locales. We're constantly looking, and we use a search firm that helps us find locations that are well matched to where members happen to be and potential members reside in our communities. I also want to publicly commend our board. These are exceptional men and women who volunteer considerable time to this cooperative. I'm indebted to you, always will be, and appreciate your guidance and your direction to me. A few years ago, this board developed some new statements that really drive who it is we are and what we do. The vision statement for this cooperative is a higher education community made strong through shared values and high impact relationships. And we take that seriously. The mission statement that fits within that is to provide for the well-being of our members. And we do that in a variety of ways that extend beyond simply financial services. So the vision is about community, the mission is about our members, but they're really connected. They're not exclusive with one another. And what I picture is a virtuous circle We're on the front end of that circle. We invest in higher education, partnering with these, I think there's 13 colleges and universities in our field of membership now, doing all we can with our resources to make them stronger and do what they do better, which is produce talent. And they inject that talent into the communities that we live in and work in. And as they do that, the economy is strengthened, business is drawn here, the communities grow, and then this cooperative, as a byproduct of that, gets what it needs to grow and thrive as people relocate to these communities and they need mortgage loans and checking accounts and all the products and services we have to offer. And so we take this seriously and are very much invested in these communities that we reside in. This outward focus, our passion for using the power of a not-for-profit cooperative for community transformation, reflects our view that rather than simply serving shareholders, we serve many stakeholders, including most certainly members, but also these universities, over 300 private employers and associational groups, and most certainly our employees, without whom none of this is possible, and we have about 700 employees at this point. Emblematic of community partners with whom we work is our relationship with Dell Medical School. Just this past Monday, exactly a week ago, our board held its March meeting in the boardroom of Dell Medical downtown. Dr. Clay Johnston, who is the dean of Dell Medical School, met with us briefly and shared his vision for that school, his mission, the invitation for UFCU and other entities within our community to join them in what they're doing through Dell Med. UFCU has also made a substantial gift to that entity. Much of that is in the way of scholarships and trying to help these medical students get through medical school with as little debt as possible so that on the other side of graduation, hopefully they will stay in our community and help us. And I have the honor of leading Dell Medical School's development efforts, and it is indeed an honor to partner with that entity that is making such impactful change in our community. I've been here 33 years, 18 years as the CEO, and I've had the pleasure of knowing two former CEOs of this organization. Bert Eubanks is the most recent, my immediate predecessor, who was the CEO here for 25 years. And I consider that man a second dad. He not only helped shape my impressions of what an organization like this is and what it should do, but just personally connected with me and helped me grow as a man, as a husband, as a daddy. I'll always be indebted to that man. And prior to him, a woman by the name of Molly Hartwick made a huge impression on me. And she was here at a time when this organization didn't have the resources that it has today, yet she did tremendous work through it, and will always be indebted to her. They, like me, were very much intent on ensuring that the cooperative lives up to the values that our founders wanted, that they envisioned back in 1936 when they created this place on the UT campus in Garrison Hall, when collectively in May 1936, they pitched in $873. Exactly 30 members that month created this organization. It's come a long way. And what we try to do today is abide by the 7 cooperative values that they pictured at that time. I try to keep those alive and well in our organization. The first is voluntary and open membership. Second is democratic member control. Number 3 is member economic participation in this cooperative. The 4th is autonomy and independence. 5 is education, training, and information. 6 is cooperation among cooperatives. And 7 is concern for community. Most credit unions do well by international values 1 through 5. When they get to number 6, cooperation among cooperatives, and then work in the community, sometimes we do well, sometimes not so much. But to us, those are just as important, and we're trying to do justice to those through that vision and mission statement that I cited earlier, and through the work that we do in the community in a variety of ways. I want to reiterate something that I've addressed in my comments the last 2 years, because this continues to be important for many members here. If you, like me, or a saver, the last 10 years since the Great Recession have been a dismal time to save in a conventional way, because the government has intentionally depressed interest rates in an effort to stimulate the economy, and that's understandable. But in the process, it's limited the options that we have to save. The credit union financial model is not designed to gracefully and equitably accommodate extraordinary rates of growth that we've experienced in recent years. Not having supplementary sources of net worth, capital, substantial net income must be generated annually to keep pace with strong deposit and asset growth in order to ensure that key performance ratios meet our regulators' requirements. Additionally, deposit growth must be contained as new deposits boost assets, and assets serve as the denominator for most of the ratios that our regulator looks at. So our need to keep deposit rates in check to control growth, combined with the federal government's need to keep market rates low to stimulate the economy, has made the last few years very difficult for savers. But that isn't to say we don't have attractive options for savers. We have an exceptional wealth management team that itself has a variety of instruments that can be very helpful to you. In fact, we participate with hundreds of credit unions across the country using a broker-dealer in San Diego that settles these transactions for us, and our program usually ranks anywhere in the top 10 to 15 of these hundreds of credit unions nationally. And we have an attractive partnership with a San Antonio sister credit union by the name of Credit Human that enables you to secure very attractive CD rates at that cooperative while maintaining your checking account, your loans, and other relationships here in Austin at UFCU. The San Antonio marketplace is very different from Austin. It enables us to help members while assisting Credit Human in securing funds it needs while controlling growth here at UFCU. And so that really is a true measure of cooperatives cooperating. I'm proud this organization regularly sets standards for how cooperatives can meet the expectations of its members and its stakeholders. I'm also proud that we'll celebrate our 82nd birthday in May. We enjoy an 8 to 10% annual growth in members. As John said, that's multiple times, typically 5 times what you see in organizations like this nationally. While that growth challenges us, it's also critical to us, because through scale, we generate resources that are necessary to hire the critical talent that we need to continue to compete well in what is very obviously a competitive marketplace. Financial services is a very competitive space. Our success is driven by exceptional business climate. We have that here in Austin and in Texas. We also have a great field of membership. Organizations like ours have a field of membership. Ours is higher education driven. And I don't think in the city of Austin that anybody could have a better field of membership than we have in that area. We have what I consider a very unique vision and mission, unlike that of any other cooperative that I have come across. The staff here is exceptional. We have a great leadership team, executive team, and the board, bar none, is I think better than any board that I have encountered. In fact, many of our executives are here this evening, and what I'd like you to do as I call your names is please stand up and remain standing. And then for those of you who are here and have interest in any of these disciplines, please stick around after the meeting and connect with these men and women, and they're happy to answer questions and address any concerns that you might have. Our Executive Vice President, Young Tran, Senior Vice President of Finance and Chief Financial Officer, Michael Crowell, Senior Vice President of Retail Services, Aaron Persons, Senior Vice President of Lending, Lori Roberts, Vice President of Human Resources and Organizational Development, Rhonda Hall, Vice President of Community Impact, Heather McKissick, Vice President of Enterprise Risk Management, Ellen Simpson, Director of Lending, Jim Brown, and Director of Marketing, Karina Watts. These are the folks who make it happen. I am almost totally dependent on them to lead and lead well, and let's give them a round of applause, please. Again, thank you for joining us here this evening. I try to make myself as accessible as possible. If I can ever be of service to you in any way whatsoever, please never hesitate to give me a call or send me a note. I'd be delighted to help you in any way that I can. Thank you for your business and for your membership. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Tony. At this annual meeting, full 3-year terms will expire for directors Laura Kilcrease and John Martin, both of whom have made themselves available to serve additional terms. A partial term will expire at this meeting for Molly Beth Malcolm, who was appointed to the board in 2017 to fill a seat vacated by a retiring director. Finally, Linus Aquino was also appointed to the board in 2017 to fill a seat vacated by a departing director. While his partial term will not expire until 2019, our bylaws require his qualification and appointment be acknowledged at this annual meeting. As chair, I appointed a nominating committee in compliance with the credit union's bylaws. Bylaws also permit additional nominations by petition in advance of this meeting. Dr. David Niesel served as chair of the nominating committee, and in his absence this evening, Cynthia Leach will now make the committee's report.
Good evening. Your nominating committee was comprised of the following members appointed by the chair of the board of directors. Committee chair David Niesel, Laura Kilcrease, Cynthia Leach, and Mary Singh. The committee considered many potential candidates, all of whom possessed exceptional qualifications. After considerable deliberation, the committee renominated the following members for 3-year terms to expire in 2021. Laura Kilcrease, Molly Beth Malcolm, and John Martin. And the following member was renominated to complete a 3-year term to expire 2019. Linus Aquino. Each nominee agreed to serve if elected, respectfully submitted by Dr. David Niesel, by me, Cynthia Leach.
Thank you, Cynthia. In compliance with the credit union bylaws, I declare the following members re-elected to the board of directors for 3-year terms: Laura Kilcrease, John Martin. Following member elected to the board of directors for a 3-year term: Molly Beth Malcolm. And the following member elected to the board of directors to complete a term that will expire in 2019, Linus Aquino, Jr. We have allotted time to entertain comments and questions. Please do 2 things to accommodate that. Please use the microphone so that all present can hear you. We have a microphone here, a microphone there. Please clearly state your name, and depending on the number of members who want to speak, I may ask you to limit your comments to a short length of time. So at this time, are there questions to be asked? Compliments. Hearing none, I want to thank you for sharing your comments. Although I'm sure that they're well wishes, your suggestions will be given consideration.